Conference for anybody in the room? Boy, that's great. First visit. That is super. Well, you know, this is going to be, I've heard people say this is a magical experience. I've heard some people say it's a life-changing experience. There's no doubt about it. You're going to come away feeling exactly the same about this. You're going to laugh. You're going to learn a lot. You'll cry a few tears. You're going to get 1,000 hugs. But when you walk away from this conference on Sunday afternoon, your life will be changed for the better. And I want to tell you that just by having this conference, we're moving that much closer to the cure, because this starts a momentum and energizes the folks throughout the PH community that really pushes things forward. And I'm so happy that you can be here sharing this with us today. You know, I think the one thing that we can all agree on in this room is that if we didn't have any patients, we wouldn't need any support groups. We all agree to that one? Pretty straightforward? Okay. But because we do have tens of thousands of people across the country who are stricken with this terrible illness, we do need support groups, and we need dedicated, caring individuals like each one of you to run them out there. You know, I think the best way that this can be summed up is a quote that was made by a lady by the name of Bonnie Ducart. And Bonnie Ducart was a patient in the late 90s and became the board chair and contributed a lot to the shape of what PHA is today. And she said, "I went for years of pulmonary hypertension without knowing anybody else around and feeling lonesome and by myself. And then one day I heard there was a support group meeting in Chicago. I got in my car and drove from Pennsylvania all the way to that Chicago support group meeting. And when I walked in that room and saw those 7 people, my life was forever changed." Does that sum it up, folks? It certainly does. The importance of what you do out there in support of the human beings, and these human beings, cannot be overstated. You, ladies and gentlemen, are truly on the front lines of the fight against this illness. Over the past few years, I've been out to many support group meetings across the country, and you, the leaders in your groups, have left many lasting impressions on me. It strikes me how so many of you are patients yourselves, struggling with every breath, yet finding the courage and strength to do everything it takes to prepare, to conduct, and support these people in the support group meetings. I've come to deeply respect and admire you and the work that you do out there. I can recall attending a support group meeting a few winters ago just south of Seattle. I heard it was going to be the first meeting of the group, and I live nearby there, so I thought, I'm going to drop in and make a surprise visit to the support group meeting. So and that's exactly what I did. I picked up a patient that I knew was housebound and couldn't get there on her own, and drove her to a very modest little home in the suburbs. The support group leader, a patient herself, lived in it, and she was hosting the support group meeting in her kitchen. It was a really cold and gloomy and kind of a gray day that day in Seattle, and just starting to spit some snow as we knocked on the door. She invited us in and into the kitchen. Around the table in this kitchen, in this warm, cheery little room, sat 2 more patients, as well as a nurse professional from one of the local pharmaceutical companies. You know, immediately it dawned on me that without knowing it, we were reenacting a magical moment that had occurred on the opposite corner of the country back in 1990, when 4 women first met around a table to provide each other support. This first support group meeting ever for pulmonary hypertension evolved into the Pulmonary Hypertension Association that you see here today. I mean, think about that. Think about that. Well, the meeting that I attended that February morning didn't last very long, and the people around the table had the same challenges, struggles, fears that each one of you experience in your daily lives. And I remember the support group leader being so proud she had pulled this first meeting off, and as I hugged her goodbye, I reassured her that I was nearby, lived nearby, and as the chair of the PHA board, I would do anything I could to support her. I hugged her and left. Sadly, before I had a chance, in fact, before she had her next support group meeting, she passed away. You know, I could spend hours up here sharing stories about my visits across the country, but you know what it's like out there. Far away oftentimes from support, doing it on your own, pushing really hard, trying to generate interest and provide the people the support that they need out there. You know, I became involved in PHA because my daughter had the illness, Megan, and she passed away from it. I want you to know that I remain now in this fight because of you. And accordingly, as I give up my position tomorrow as the chairman of the board of the Pulmonary Hypertension Association, I will remain on the board and direct all the rest of my efforts in the direction of providing you, the support group leaders, the very, very best support we can in this country. I guess that means I'm going to work for Debbie. I guess.
Oh boy, oh boy.
But I want to do this because what you do out there is so vitally important for these so very important people, our patients, who like Megan have been stricken by this terrible, terrible illness, that I just feel compelled to do everything I can to support you. You're out there on the front lines, you're doing your best, and you are so vitally important to what we do. And until we find a cure for this, and someday we most certainly will, we'll always need people like you, our support group leaders, to continue to be on the front lines of this struggle. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be right there with you. God bless you, and thank you for everything you do.